Hello there, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if this is your first time, welcome. Social media isn't the problem, you are. And when I say that, I know that people are going to be like, what do you mean? Oh my god, how am I the problem? Is it me? Am I the drama? Yes, it is you. You are the problem. You are the drama. Think of social media as shadow play. Instead of saying shadow work, I'm gonna say shadow play, because on social media, we're able to play. We're able to be funny. We're able to make light of things. We're able to be chill. We're able to be really a range of experiences and a range of emotions and a range of things. But social media is a space of shadow play. And what do I mean by that? I mean that it's a place where humanity's shadows come out to play. Now, shadows in your shadow is the parts of yourself that you suppress, the parts of yourself that you deny, repress, suppress, push away, doubt, the more hidden parts of yourself that you don't accept as easily as other parts. So confidence could be a shadow, power could be a shadow, doubt could be a shadow, fear could be a shadow, light could be a shadow. It really just depends on the person and what part it is and what parts of you it is that you are suppressing, repressing, denying, hiding. So you'll see, if you think about this in terms of social media, how people's shadows can come out to play. Because on social media, a lot of people want to post, but they don't post because of fear, because of being afraid of being seen in their light, because of doubting their light, because of doubting what they have to say, right? Your voice could be a shadow aspect, because maybe they feel like they're not willing to embrace their power. They don't know how to embrace their power. They're denying that they have power. They're denying that their light, their voice is powerful, right? Parts of them are powerful, that parts of them are worth sharing. Shadow play is essentially everybody on social media, humanity, playing out the collective shadow via interaction and engagement with social media. A lot of people like to scapegoat social media and say social media is the problem, and this is why social media, we need to ruin it, we need to get rid of it. But actually, if we really got rid of social media, a lot of people, including myself, because I enjoy social media, I like social media, would be feeling some type of way. Like, some people would even be experiencing more of a negative response than others, depending on attachment, depending on how much you're on it, depending on your relationship to it. And that's the thing. Social media shadow play, shadow work, brings out your relationship to social media, and it brings out those dark parts of you as you engage, as you watch it, as you play on it, as you connect with it. And it brings out those parts of you that are comparative, that do compare, those parts of you that may be competitive, those parts of you that do fear, those parts of you that do doubt, those parts of you that are afraid of connecting with others, or being seen, or being vulnerable, or expressing yourself, or showing who you are. Like, it really reflects, it's like a mirror. And so when people say they want to get rid of social media, what they actually mean is that they don't want to face themselves. They don't want to face their shadows. They don't want to face the darkness that social media brings up in them and the collective in other people. A lot of humanity focuses and has focused on just getting rid of the problem, right? Just get rid of social media and we'll all be better. But that's actually not true, because if we actually got rid of social media tomorrow, a lot of people would actually flare up, and a lot of tensions would actually probably rise very heavily, because people make money off of social media. They engage with people through social media. They connect with people through social media. They make a living off of social media. They find themselves through social media. They receive knowledge, wisdom, information. We all do, right? Whether it's news, whether it's just wisdom from certain people, we learn about ourselves, we learn about life, we learn about the world, we learn how to cook ramen, we learn how to do things through social media. And so to say oh, if we just got rid of social media, the problem will be gone. That's actually a lie that people tell themselves in order to avoid the truth, which the truth is that social media makes people feel things they don't want to have to feel, right? It makes them want to not, it makes them it's a scapegoat, because then you can say, oh, well, it's social media's problem that I'm feeling shame. It's social media's problem that I'm feeling doubt. It's social media's problem that I'm feeling comparison. It's social media's problem but really it's actually your problem, right? It's actually something you're experiencing in connection and relationship to social media. But you blame social media because it's easier than facing yourself. It's easier than looking at the actual root, the actual problem, which is the foundation of humanity's psyche, the foundations that people have laid for generations, over centuries, within humanity, within the system of our mind, the system of our perspective, the system of our heart posture. I think a lot of people can use social media to avoid, right? A lot of us can use social media to avoid. Sometimes we want to doom scroll. Sometimes we don't want to think. So we're just like, okay, I'm going to be on social media and I don't want to think. I don't want to be serious. I don't want to. And that works, right? It depends on what you look at. Depends on where you go. But sometimes you'll find a post that does trigger you, that does make you feel some type of way, that does make you have to think. And so people can use social media as a way to avoid their own life and their own elevation and their own power and their own shadows, right? Where they don't believe they have power, where they don't believe they can be as successful as that person or that person, where they don't believe they can have that money like that person or that person, where they don't believe that they're as creative as that person or that person, when actually we're all reflections of each other. It's just about bringing out those parts of yourself, right? It's just about expanding into those parts of yourself and embracing and accepting and really shining a light and letting yourself move from those parts. But how do we move from those parts? By acknowledging that they exist. How do we acknowledge that they exist? By looking at our shadow, right? What's hidden, what we're suppressing, what we're repressing, what we haven't had access to, where we feel doubt, where we feel fear, and why we feel it. But a lot of people, again, just want to get rid of the problem, social media, and then they think everything will be fixed. But actually, that's just going to make them even more triggered and even more amped up because of the addiction and the relationships that majority of people have with social media. People don't actually want to get rid of social media. They want to get rid of having to look at themselves. They want to get rid of personal accountability and responsibility for their own emotions, for their own mental state, for their own mental health, for their own spiritual state, for their own spiritual health, for their own physical state, for their own physical health. And it's like, that doesn't mean that you don't deserve support through that process or support isn't available, but it's like people would rather just like, oh, there's just no way, like this is just who I am, and this is just what life is, and this is just how social media is, and this is just what things are, and I can't change them, and I can't change. Like they would rather just like sit in that than like become their own therapist, right? Or become their own healer, or become their own transformative coach, or become their own like person. They'd rather just like watch other people, hate on other people, love on other people, shame other people, accept other people, connect with other people, but they don't want to connect with themselves. They don't want to look at their own shame. They don't want to look at how they don't love themselves or how much they do love themselves. They don't want to self-reflect. They don't want to self-introspect, because that's not the foundations that this society, that humanity has been built from. We've really been built from a society, and in a society that escapes, right, and avoids and doesn't want to look at that deep stuff and doesn't want to look at the real stuff. And so what we see on social media is actually really just a reflection of the consciousness, the mindset, the perspectives, the perceptions of humanity. And until people recognize that that person commenting hate is actually a person, that person commenting love is actually a person, that person living that life of lavish and luxury is actually a person, that person living that life of homelessness and suffering is actually a person, that person living that van life, that person living that cheerleading life, that person living that humanitarian life, that person living this life, that person living the life with their pets, that person just divorced and making a series out of it, these are all people. So people are on social media and they're controlling social media. Even the people who control, who are higher, right? The powers that be, the people who control the algorithm, the people who control the domains and the websites and this and that, like those are also people. And so it's a humanity problem, it's a human problem, it's a people problem, not just like, oh, let's just get rid of this thing that none of us have anything to do with and then it'll be solved. Like, no, because it's actually just going to make it even worse. And I'm not going to say that there aren't bad things about social media, right? Like, it does bring up these very dark aspects of the collective consciousness and of the collective mindset and the collective perspective and the collective norms and the collective things that nobody wants to look at. And so it shows that to us in a very 3D way, whether we see the news when we scroll, whether we see some tensions rising in conversations or hot topics, whether we like there's some bad things, the way that the algorithm works, the way that people who, you know, push you to buy things are more applauded than people who are actually trying to teach you something and who actually give a fuck. Like, it's there are problematic aspects of social media, and I'm not denying that, but I am saying that social media is used as a scapegoat 100%.